Hello YouTube and welcome to a new series on the channel here today, and my first manga reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to, or continuing the story of, The Land of the Lustrous, and we're very excited to be here doing just that. So if you haven't watched my videos before, hello, hi, I normally react to anime. Today we're going to try this manga thing. And I say it's my first manga reaction, it's not really. I finished and loved the Girls Last Tour manga on the channel, thought that was fantastic, as well as me reading and reacting to Goodbye Eri by Tatsuki Fujimoto, which I thought was also fantastic. And it's also not really new to Land of the Lustrous either, because I watched the TV anime. But that was a long time ago. I looked like that. It was one of the first videos I made on the channel. I wouldn't recommend watching them, but you can if you want to. And again, it'll probably set up my understanding of the story, albeit I have gone back and read the manga up until the point I'm starting today. I've been told to start at chapter 30, because I believe the last episode of the TV anime jumps around a little bit, and I just want to make sure I get everything. So yeah, and again, there was probably a few changes there between the TV anime and the manga up to this point that I will get into. I've written some notes, but yeah, I was happy I caught up in my own time, put it that way. There was stuff there, and again, it was a nice refresher for the series as well. Again, this will probably end up going in the same playlist as the Land of the Lustrous stuff from before, but like, just know that there was a big gap there. It's been 2 years and change, so I did need to catch up and remind myself of the story. But anyway, before getting into any of that, I should take a couple of steps back again. I wanted to do manga for a long time. Again, I know less about manga. I've read less of the really good manga than anime, I guess. So there's more chance there for me to experience that stuff, which is nice. As well as me just really liking the format. It's less stop-start than the anime stuff. I could just kind of analyze as I go, which is a nice change too. But yes, this won the poll. Put the poll results up here as well. You could have had any of these other things, but you chose Land of the Lustrous, everybody. And for the record, this caught me off guard. I didn't think Land of the Lustrous would end up winning the poll, but it did. Hence why there's this week gap where I needed to catch up, because I didn't really consider that. So before getting any further, let's go back to the first step. That would be Haruko Ichikawa. That is the mangaka, the story and art behind this particular manga. This particular story. Very well regarded in the top few on Mal, at least for manga. So, and again, Mal isn't the best place for manga, but it works for me in the here and now. I would imagine from this, and I would imagine from this, female mangaka, which is kind of pog. We like that. And yeah, I had a look at the stuff that they'd made before, and it seems like the one that most people think about is this Mushi to Uta one. If I come over here, I don't know if that's in view very well, but it won something at the Osamu Tezuka Cultural Prize, which is a pretty prestigious manga award. So, you know, in 2010, I believe. Yes, the New Artist Prize for Haruko Ichikawa there. Point being, they weren't a newcomer to the scene when making Land of the Lustrous, but kind of, you know, it's like a sophomore album. I guess you could make the equivalent there. And yeah, I mean, there's plenty of good stuff here. Saint Young Men, he is very good. Scrolling down this way to the stuff I'm a little bit more familiar with. Fullmetal Alchemist, obviously fantastic. March Comes In Like a Lion, Space Brothers, A Silent Voice, Rakugo Shinju, Beastars, Golden Kamui, which I also almost put on the poll, but anyway, that's that didn't happen. This one, he is quite good as well. It has the anime adaptation as of recently. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Point being, clearly somebody that knows what they're doing. I mean, you wouldn't be in the position that you are in if you didn't know what you were doing. It's kind of a stupid question. And again, I know I mentioned it before, but I have seen part of this before. That's why we're starting at this chapter number. I'm sure that people know that already. But as I was rereading, I just took some notes on my phone quickly, just so we have some jumping off points for discussion when I start reading this thing. And these are pretty scattershot, like spelling and whatnot as well. Phrasing. We'll see how I go, but I don't know, I read it on my phone, shut up. And this first point, art is gorgeous, goes without saying, but the thing I want to spin off of this is the sparseness of it. Like, Studio Orange with the TV anime, they've made something that is their kind of vision of what it is, I guess. It's way more opaque than... It's not a straightforward adaptation is my point. They've made some and taken some creative liberties there, which I do enjoy. I really like the kind of decisions they've made there. A lot in the color department, which I think goes a long way. The lack of color is a little bit off-putting. I was reading a version with minimal color because it helped me to identify characters, which was nice. But as this thing progresses, I'm sure locations will change. We've already been fucking underwater into the ice and stuff, so yeah, locations will change. I'm going to need to make my own interpretations of what even is going on there, I guess. In that way, it took me a chapter or two to get used to it. The character designs are all obviously in uniforms. They have different hair and different faces somewhat, but it's kind of hard to tell who's who. I guess you'll pick it up eventually. I kind of picked it up as I continued. Again, I got used to it, is the point there. I feel like this one's really integral to the whole story going on. Love the concept of soul, flesh, and bone. I believe back in the day I said that as well during the TV anime stuff. So, again, the idea is that this is post-apocalyptic? Something, ancient beings were humans. Something, Adamant got really mad or really concerned when Foss kind of mentioned the idea of a human. Clearly there's something going on there. Life perished as we know it and split into 3 different groups, that being the Soul, which is the Tsukijin, or the moon people. They're up in the moon or somewhere. We're going to find out. And that's probably... I'll circle back to that. Flesh, those are the Admirabilis. Excuse my pronunciation there. The ocean people. They're fleshy. That's why we called them Ruler in the translation I had. She had big old titties. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. The flesh component of a human. And the bone, obviously, is our characters. Kind of eternal, you know? And I was reading into it a little bit. I'm like... when you die, what is the part of you that is left behind for the longest amount of time? It is ultimately the bones, you know? You'll find a skeleton, you'll find fossils of bones and that kind of thing, right? It is the part of us that contains the most eternity, I guess, and kind of tying that into the whole kind of mineral gemstone concept of the fiction is quite good. I like all of that. Circling back to the soul, however, and that's probably this larger discussion here going into it, why is it that the soul component of a human is the thing that's looking to steal and the thing that is inciting conflict and all that kind of side of it? I think that's where we get into the interesting kind of philosophy of the show and what it's trying to go for. I say the show, the manga, I've got to keep saying that now. The central theme to our first little arc here is Foss trying to change. I guess that's kind of the whole thing now that I think about it. Kind of, again, propelled by Cinnabar, Shinsha, whatever you want to say there. It's kind of like the whole thing that they have going on. I got to be careful about pronouns as well now that I remember. It's male presenting pronouns, but they're also just androgynous because they're actually just gems. So keep that one in mind. So when I say she and her here, I mean he, and his. Very cool. And I remember doing this whole kind of thing when I watched it originally as well. The pronouns kind of threw me. So I'm tying this a little bit into this side of it, right? Okay, so we've kind of lost the soul that we had and that kind of essence of humanity, so to say. Like, is the fact that we're immortal and Foss is immortal and all the gems are immortal, so to say, right? Does that impact... It's kind of like immortality, like it removes your ability to change, because you're always going to be around. There's no time limit on things. There's no need on almost a biological level to change. Like, think about, I don't know, this fucking can of Solo here. It can't change unless I do something to it. I add to it or change it or whatever else, right? I think that's kind of the concept we're going for with Foss. The only time that they've been able to change is with these additions, with the kind of legs that were a gate from memory, and the gold arms, obviously. And again, are we going to need to do more additions to catch up? The frustration of Foss's own uselessness in this regard with the continued losses, Amethyst twins getting hurt, that was obviously a big one. Specifically here with this case, Foss's frustration that everybody else already assumed that he was useless and couldn't do anything. That was the sticking point there. Obviously, throw the Shinsha, Cinema stuff into this as well. Like, this person is an outcast. I want to include them in this kind of thing. Find something that they can do. Find their purpose for them. All very lovey and tsundere and stuff as well. I can't do that unless I myself change, you know? Antark seems very potent here too. There's been multiple scenes of Antark haunting Foss, for lack of a better term. You know, the old, like Antark's given it to the away end or something. But yeah, we'll get into that with the adamant stuff. But like, is this going to propel growth? Is it going to stunt growth? It's an interesting conversation there when we're going to continue. This memory loss thing keeps coming up as well. I'm sure it's going to be important. We're going to forget, or we continue to forget things that are potent. Like, if Foss remembered everything from the ocean stuff and then confronted Adamant about it a little bit more, is that a larger conversation? Almost feels like Adamant is preying upon this a little bit. Like, hey, my people will forget things sometimes, and I can almost manipulate that side of it. I don't know. Adamant's a hard one to read. So yeah, as Foss continues to grow, lose more parts of himself, how's that going to impact things? We're going to see. Sunspots are like Rorschach tests. I believe I said this back in the day as well. Reading that into the whole soul component of the soul, flesh, and bone is cool. Like, again, it's the psyche. It's reading. It's like a psychological test, you know? What do you see in that? It's very individualistic, as opposed to, again, the practicality of the bone side of it, I guess. I just wrote Ship of Theseus here. Like, this is a pretty obvious one. At what point is Foss even Foss anymore if Foss continues to change? You know, are we going to lose that last component of Foss? Then I'm just this amalgam of everything else. How does that impact somebody? We're going to see. I don't know. It's clearly a concept that the piece of fiction is going for. This one is just like a bunch of bullshit, I guess. I don't know. I'll probably put these pages in post as well. Adamant is defo a human or god. He's something. He's also yoked as fuck. So I remember this page, he was just jacked as shit. This was during winter. This is a particular shot, I believe, of a Tsukijin whose face shape looks very similar to Adamant's. So I was like, something's going on there pretty clearly. There's also the whole Shiro thing, which is, as of recent, like, Foss knows that he heard something there. Is that going to go anywhere? It's hard to say. I'm probably going to end up going with Tsukijin as well. I think it's a pretty easy way to say moon person. It literally translates to moon person, so... You know, kind of one of the last notes we ended out on is Padparasha, of course. Nailed that one. Sometimes knowing the truth, or sometimes, like, pursuing the truth will lead to more harm than good. Padparasha, specifically with the Doctor. Did we call them, like, Hakase or something in the show? I forget. Rutil. If I told Rutil how I actually feel, would it cause Rutil more pain than... good, even if that is the truth, right? Because Padparasha, obviously being cared for by Rutil, revived every so often. I don't want Rutil for Rutil's own benefit to continue to pursue this, right? That's my decision. But, you know, would that hurt them ultimately? It's hard to say. And that's kind of the general setup leading into things. I remember the TV anime jumped around a little bit, so there may be some things after chapter 30 here that I'm kind of reminded of. Some people said 35 was another jumping on point, so maybe I'll see some stuff I remember as well. It's hard to say. It has been 2 years. But yes, I am keen to read new stuff. Kind of the state of play is that kind of Foss is umming and ahhing about whether to pursue this kind of Adamant being sus, going to the moon type idea. So we'll see. So now I've got this thing up here. We're basically starting from volume 5, so maybe I'll put that in the title. Now I might get to the end of this volume here today. So just full context, it's like Easter week. I need to travel, so I need to edit this and then get going basically, which, you know, it's neither here nor there, but hey, point being, sessions may be longer, sessions may be shorter, depending on how much I talk, basically. We're going to see. It's been weird with reading the manga kind of in my own time. Some of the chapters are really short, where they're just a fight, where I don't think I'll have much to say other than just, this is cool as shit. I'll probably say something like that, where other ones get really philosophical and probably will lead into tangents and whatnot. The version I am reading is the official version, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I was a little bit confused, so we'll see. The other thing is, this isn't a colored version. I'm just going to have to assume which character's which. There is a page here, if I get it up, kind of this one here, which does have all the different character designs and their kind of respective hair colors. So yeah, one to follow, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'll keep that one up specifically just on another monitor or something. And again, I don't know if what I've been reading up to this point has been kind of the official version or the not official version. It's hard for me to say. So I could have a few names somewhere different, blah, 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 pronouns. Again, we'll get into it. Either way, I shouldn't look at that. I should look at this instead, this chapter that I've already read. So I'll skip to the end of this one and then we'll pop in. And some last minute movements just so I'm not looking at this side of the screen constantly. This should be fine. Okay, so Rutiel, Foss, Padporasha said what they said. Obviously making the decision here not to tell Rutiel. Like, keep the secret. That is reflecting her not telling people about the whole Shiro adamant thing as well. So, new chapter, chapter 30, Empty Black Spot. And it seems we have a character. This is our first I don't know who this is moment, which is great. Running. We're about to find out anyway. This is what I mean with the art. Like, you could assume that this was fucking anywhere without the color. Where, again, from kind of the TV anime and what I know there, I now know that this field is kind of a certain color, and the sky's a certain color, and, you know, the certain architecture of the building that they're in, I guess. So straight off rip, a little bit confused as to which character this is. There was a new character called Ghost Quartz, which I'm looking at, so potentially this is them. We're going to find out anyway. Rutiel, I heard that you got Padporasha moving again. Rutiel, only for a moment. Aww. I wanted to talk about old times. What a couple of decrepit old fogies. So again, they're immortal. They've been around forever. So they've clearly got a relationship withstanding. Very cool. Even a little bit of a frustration here. Rutiel's always been a bit of a troll as well. Or is this Diamond? Hang on. You must be bored. I just left Zircon with bored. No, this is Yellow Diamond. This is already an issue. Alright, the bought round robin thing. You miss your partner, don't you? Me? Don't be silly. Zircon and Bort, I think they make a good couple. I've always seen it Borts, so we're going to say Borts because Bort just makes me think of Bort license plate from The Simpsons, so we're not doing that. Borts. The elderly do have a clever way of masking their insecurity. Clearly the 2 pages here, like, same structure, same joke. Trolling. We love it. So does that mean that the Borts kind of Foss thing is done? Because Bortz seems to be hanging out with Zircon now. I don't know, fair enough. Again, Bortz is that perfect kind of character where I'm like, initially they're a bit of a cunt, but eventually he grows on you and it's like, you know, I enjoy their presence, I guess. And again, Zircon, very kind of young too is the vibe. Yeah, seems like this is a thing. Bortz hanging out with Zircon. Clearly not talking much. Kind of like the sunrise to sunset, not much has been said. Thank you for working with me today. Oh yeah, and there we go. Bortz didn't say a single word all day. What did I do wrong? Yellow was always chatting with me. They're both in the Diamond family, but they're so different. Don't tell me. Bortz hates me. Hates me. Hates me. Oh! So, Bortz is Bortz. He'll warm up to you, I guess. Bortz also respects power. Very much so in fighting prowess. Didn't really consider Foss much until Foss powered up, so there's something in that too. Very much a realist. And yeah, very different from everybody else. Very different from Jade and Rutiel and Dia. Because, like, no, Dia I think we ended up going with, because Diamond. Yeah, then Dia. It's very funny when you're reading, you don't have to vocalize any of the names, so yeah, it'll be an adjustment period. And yeah, bottom panel there, Yellow Diamond, probably meeting back up with Zircon, correct. This spotlight's quite interesting. I like it as a kind of panel design. Oh, Yellow. No, I can't go crying to Yellow over something like this. I have to play it cool. Oh, I see the joke. Okay, so you're like keeled over because you think that Bortz hates you, and then you're going to play it off by looking like you're stretching or something. Locking in. That's pretty good. I forgot how funny this thing is. It's kind of, you know, it gets kind of heady, but, you know, you like the characters, you want to root for them, that kind of thing. And I think this is Jade, bottom corner too. Is Zircon okay? That's weird. Well, I don't want to be overprotective. Obviously, they know that it's not as cool. But, yeah, they don't want to step in quite yet. And obviously, Yellow Diamond here on the next page, feeling a little bit insecure about that as well, right? You think so? Well, make up your mind. So, okay, that's where we're kind of leaving that. Like this kind of gap here in the paneling too, indicating that they're, basically a scene transition, because now we're with Foss, who is thinking about things broadly, I guess you could say. Oh, and it seems like Foss and Zircon may, kind of bond on this issue of Bortz, I guess. They're finishing each other's sentences. Another day, another failure, says Zircon. Dwa, of course. You were here? Yes, I was. Please help me. Huh? No, you're scaring me. Please help anyway. Oh, Bortz won't talk to you. Again, more of this nice characterful stuff. I can definitely see this scene playing out in my head. The dialogue's pretty natural here, I think. But Bortz doesn't really talk to anybody. Not a word in 7 days. Now that's kind of crazy. Okay. And I feel like it would be rude for me to speak out of turn. You were Bortz's partner, or last partner. I guess you were so great at everything that I'm just a disappointment. What, Foss? No. No. Even though we're closest to the same age, I always thought of you as this immature, infantile crystal, and now you're suddenly leaving me in the dust. What have I been doing with my life, excuse me. Why'd you have to shit on Foss like that? And again, Foss has made an active decision here to go and pursue change. That's like kind of the point of the manga. He stayed awake during winter and stuff. It's pretty, you guys all slept. I was grinding, basically. So I was thinking maybe I should lose my arms or legs. Oh dear, this kid's gone mental. I wouldn't recommend putting yourself in danger. It's not like Foss went, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to chop off my own legs and arms and improve that way. It all kind of happened by happenstance, right? Specifically with the arms, I lost my arms due to my own insecurities, because it was like the ice flows reflecting that kind of feeling back at Foss. So, it's a bit of a weird one. There's an element of humanity to that. They said ancient beings. Park that. We'll probably get back to the whole ice flow thing. But yeah, it's not... You shouldn't pursue... It was circumstantial. Foss didn't choose to cut their own legs off, I guess. And here we're trying to justify some stuff. Bortz hates wasting effort and is super logical. If that battle freak doesn't like something, you're guaranteed to hear about it, so you have nothing to worry about. Have more faith in yourself. But again, I would classify this as Bortz doesn't consider you, I guess. Well, again, Bortz is just a bad people person in general. But again, we've seen previous in the manga, if Bortz does not like you, Bortz will let you know. I guess the vibe from Zircon is kind of popular kid, prodigy, right? Who is just a little bit down on their luck and still a little bit full of themselves. Because we'll follow through here. Thank you very much. Faith in yourself is the only thing I know you've always had in spades. Yeah, I don't like your tone. Just why'd you have to shit on me when you're coming to me for advice? I don't know. Condescending is the word I'd probably use. I did have a feeling that this would happen someday. What? I don't believe it. What do you mean by this? Oh, what? That Foss would improve, I guess. I remember when I could count on my groundless optimism to pull me through. It seems so strange now. I envy my own self. Knowledge is... Being as knowledgeable about how insignificant you are. There's a curse of knowledge, I guess, of I was happier when I was more naive, but at that same point I was also naive. So what's ultimately better? Again, when I just, trusted Adamant wholeheartedly, and I was just kind of the goofy youngest one of the group, and, we're just kind of vibing. I've grown up. I am cynical. I'm this, I'm that. That's why you envy your old self, I guess. Yeah. Same conversation as the Pad Parasha stuff, in my opinion. The paneling here, obviously creating a parallel between these two characters. Potentially, you remind Foss of a younger version of himself, And I think I've been all over the place with the fucking pronouns. It'll take an adjustment, I'm sorry. But seems like Zircon is taking that to heart, envying his old self, and now taking that kind of into account with this Bortz thing, and Bortz is getting lighter for some reason. I don't even know who's speaking here, who counted on something to pull you through. I guess we're seeing a reflection of Yellow Diamond and Bortz, and this is the first words that Bortz is going to say to Zircon. Your weakness is Yellow Diamond. Your fear of you losing Yellow constantly makes you tense. You can't think of anything but defense. so you've never been able to display your full power. You don't need to be so worried about me, so start by fighting however you like, then we'll talk. And fucking aura farming with the pose is Bortz as well, which we like to see. And the narrowing of the eyes there from Zircon. All right, so let's analyze. Your weakness is Yellow Diamond. Yeah, I guess it's like one of the youngest paired with the oldest, right? So, and obviously, like, I love my senpai, all that kind of BS, right? We saw that earlier in the chapter. I don't want to look weak in front of Yellow Diamond. Kind of Zircon needs to grow into their own person a little bit here. And Bortz has recognized that. Just kind of watching, like, Bortz didn't disregard you, I guess, is the takeaway here. Bortz was just picking his moment. We also must remember the sub thing here, which is that Foss has been waiting for the Tsukijin to show up and wants to be taken by them, though nobody knows that at the moment. And we've been waiting days and days and they haven't shown up. It's almost like when we want them to show up, they don't show up. When we don't want them to show up, they should. It's like the opposite, you know what I mean? Looking at this pattern, it's a little bit skew-with. So we saw a sunspot on top of another sunspot, and that's when kind of Shiro came out of it. So the sunspots are getting weird, I guess is a thing we could say. Like, this one doesn't look like the other ones, which are all very uniform and parallel and stuff. This one's a bit more wavy. And I think Zircon recognizes this. Wait, I think that's... like that fucking anime sound effect. We love that shit. And it seems like Foss is rushing in and wants to be taken. Please let me take this one. Gold rushing everywhere, that kind of shit. Oh, that's an empty black spot. Empty? We see them sometimes. It's an illusion. It will disappear soon enough. Oh, I didn't know. Interesting. What purpose would an empty black spot serve? Seems like the translation we're going here is black spot instead of sunspot. I'll probably alternate. They're kind of the same thing. I always thought that sunspot versus Tsukijin was interesting, though. Anyway, what would be the purpose of, like, a fake black spot? That's weird. And obviously, Foss is all kind of worked up about wanting to get taken, obviously very disappointed in this new development, and then immediately Bortz kind of eyeing Foss, maybe thinking something, not saying something, and then you hold your sword too swiftly. Yes, Bortz! Zircon, obviously. A little bit more of a senpai-kohai thing going on. They actually got a speaking relationship now. And it seems like we're kind of ending this chapter with Yellow Diamond spotting Zircon with Bortz, and them kind of talking and learning from each other. And a little bit of pride there from Yellow, which we like to see. And then it seems we have Yellow hanging out with Pad Porasha. I must say, Pad Porasha, if I'm saying that correctly, is on the cover of this volume. So potentially more involvement there. Maybe a flashback would be cool. I don't know. Again, the implication is that everybody on some level knows that Adamant is kind of sus. And Foss was one of the last ones to find out, but they want to keep the peace. You know, so are we going to play with that concept a little bit? We'll see. I think I'll tell Sensei to make Bortz and Zircon an official team. If Zircon is with Bortz, everything will be fine, because unlike me, Bortz doesn't keep messing up and losing partners. Yeah, again, Yellow Diamond's whole thing is survivor's guilt, right? Want it here the longest. We kind of listed a laundry list of gemstones, I guess you could call them, that have been taken, which could come back at some point if we were to make it to the moon. And another interesting thing is with, are we going to call him Ruler? The Admirabulous fucking guy obviously had a very different form when kind of making that transition between what we could probably consider as Earth and the moon. So how does forms change as we kind of progress? Do they see us on a different level? It's weird. So we'll play with that concept when we get to it. But yeah, point being, there are named characters on the moon at the moment that are gems that we could probably end up seeing. Tell me it's not the wrong choice. I've been thinking too hard for too long. I'm tired. Mind if I lie down next to you? Yeah, that kind of, what's the word? Being immortal, that kind of curse, I guess you could kind of read into that from here. And then, haha, just kidding. I get the feeling you weren't kidding as much as you're letting on. Empty black spot. End. I guess that's the kind of chapter title. Maybe I should read into that a little bit more when the thing showed up. I don't know. You can't see it, but up here I do see the file name, and it does have the chapter name up there, so maybe consider reading that. That would be an idea. And now that I'm reading this as well, this does say Kodansha on it, so I'm going to imagine that this is official. Next chapter, fresh. And we're just kind of getting our sea legs. I did have big plans about finishing the volume we're going at a pretty slow pace as it stands right now. It turns out there's a lot to say. Maybe in the future we can do that, but I'll probably just record until I can't anymore, timing-wise, today. That I should stop talking about it and focus. Lex. I guess this is how we're shortening Alex. So Alex has the two-form thing going on, the red hair and the blue hair, and gets all very worked up whenever they see Tsukijin. So keep that in mind as well. And it seems like we're going to have a convo with Foss. Very cool. Foss, are you busy? A little. I'm airing out some files from the library. Is it urgent? I want to redo my studies about the Lunarians. Would you teach me everything you know? And of course, we've got that kind of otaku Lunarian thing going on. Tsukijin, whatever you want to say. Obviously, tossing all our papers in the air, I'm going to drop everything and kind of gush to you about how much I love these things. Again, comedy, character, we love to see it. What would you like to know first? Come on, where should I begin? Ugh, Lex, we need those. They're original textbook manuscripts. And it seems like we're skipping ahead somewhat and Foss is having a read. Stratigraphic Structure 1. I remember absolutely nothing of this. Coastal erosion rate, how air pressure affects cloud formation. I guess they do manifest from clouds. Tying them into the weather is probably something there. They don't show up on days when the sun isn't there. The shadow? Yo, lots of different ideas going on there for sure. I'm noticing this. We go for a lot of kind of plain one color backgrounds. We don't really emphasize a lot of stuff very often. As I said, sparse. Again, it's post-apocalyptic. It feels like the world has been abandoned somewhat. It's only natural, right? There's only like, what, fucking a dozen of us? More, but barely more. There's not a lot of dudes, is my point. Like, of course it's going to look sparse. There isn't the characters to fill up the space. And Foss was never the studious type. I think I'm in trouble. Of everything I've learned, all I can remember is... I don't know. You've gotten a firm grasp on the language now, so today we will begin your lessons. Flashback territory, very cool. Yesh Shensei, which I think is very fun. I can imagine Tomio Kurosawa saying that, which I think is fantastic casting, by the way. I see so much of like her voice in this character, I guess. Yeah. So this was a question. I guess they are smaller at some point. Like they are a little bit more childlike. That's an interesting question of kind of the life cycle of the gem. If they do even have a life cycle. Seems like there's some giggling and gossip in class as Adamant's trying to do his thing as well. Yeah, they're running amok out there. That's enough. Sensei, is the new kid going to fight? I don't know yet, but Foss is a kind, gentle gem. So that's all I remember from my education is that Adamant considered me a certain way. That I'm a kind and gentle gem. I don't know if they will fight. Interesting stuff. Lex, I rounded up all your papers. I do seem to remember... I remember this from the TV anime, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And yeah, seems like we're going full-on power trip, kind of sensei mode, changing costuming, very official, like, classical Japanese idea of a teacher, I guess. Question 1. Tell me the type of Lunarian that appeared on the second day of the 5th month, 109 years ago, with its official name. How should I know? A quiz game? I thought it'd be more fun this way. I just want to learn. Then take these. Big stack of books. Da-done. Don't throw another da in there, that's something else. There will be a test at a future date. Oh, kind of cosplaying Adamant as well, that's kind of the vibe for sure. Test, the sound of that word fills me with dread. It will be in a quiz game format. You just want to do a quiz game. Start with Introduction to Lunarians Volume 1. Yes. What's Yellow doing here? Yellow is a guest lecturer with a wealth of credentials. Thank you for having me. So it seems like Yellow Diamond and Alex are going to teach Foss what's going on. And again, I do remember this from the end of the show, barely. Oh yeah, and by the look of this, it seems like Foss is locking in more than the other two. Yellow's called it a night. Alex is just about there. I think only the passion fueling him. Question. Of the 5 Ray-old types that have appeared in the past, what model of vessel have we seen the 12th fewest of? Cyclone, no. Skew 6 streamlined star dice model. What the hell are you talking about, man? Right, impressive. Same to you. You made it to an unpalatable place where once we total up the last month's scores, you may or may not have changed the rankings. It all just flows into my head, Lex Sensei. Really, Sensei is pleased. Lex Sensei, do you think it's possible to communicate with the Lunarians? We know nothing about Lunarian language. In any case, our contact with them is always so brief, we just don't have any information. I get the feeling we will have some information at some point. Actually talking to the essence of a human would be kind of interesting, I think. Do you like the Lunarians, Lex? No, I do my research to overcome my condition, and for one other reason, a little before you were born, they took Chrysoberyl from me. So that's like red beryl and whatever beryl and Chrysoberyl. It's Chris, I guess we're probably gonna shorten that down to. So yeah, this is kind of the tragedy of that otaku streak for Alex, is that there's an underlying kind of loss there that is propelling this, right? There's a reason why I'm as passionate as I am, and it's tragic, and you didn't know about it. Or maybe at one point you did know about it, and then if you forgot, it's kind of interesting there. I think about the Lunarians every day to make sure my hatred stays fresh. Yeah, interesting. Okay. And again, we have Adamant being kind of buddy-buddy with the Lunarians. What gives? I should also mention times in the past where the Lunarians have met up with Adamant. They've kind of been praying to him. That's why I kind of said in my notes before, he's kind of like a god to them. They're like surrounding him, and I don't know. But that's why I'm like, okay, if you're a human essence and you're kind of being bereft of your physical form, seeing a fully completed human would be akin to us seeing a god. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it, where again, my broad theory is that Adamant is one of the few humans that has all three of these components that is left. That being flesh, bone, and soul. Either way, day breaks, and I think the vibe is going to be that Foss has been studying, just kind of up and walking, fair enough. A new dawn, a new day, light piercing through the darkness. Love this paneling here. Fresh, eh? Here we have a 3-ray model, old type. Is it empty? No. It is full. Look, it's a Tsukijin. Very cool. Yeah, so it isn't an empty one. It also isn't like a sunspot on top of another sunspot. It's also the old model. The new type is the ones that seem to use the gems, and when you cut them in twine, they'll pop out and do some weird shit. I seem to remember like a fishing line conceit to one of them, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this seems pretty typical. We have the whole kind of parade Eastern tinged thing going on in kind of their design, even a few flags of a sort, reminding me almost of a, Japanese festival or something like that. But a little bit more of the design here, drawing a little bit more southwest of that, a little bit more kind of Indian inspired, almost Thai in spots. Yeah, obviously religion being a huge influence there too. So, and I guess this is the first time we're getting into one of the fights. So here we get the Tsukijin firing a lot of arrows, the gold coming up and blocking them. Grrr, says Foss, before Foss launches with a swish into the sky, into the air there. From here, we're right up at that level, and it seems like Foss wants to communicate. So we're seeing eye to eye. We've always got this kind of vacant, smug smile on the Tsukijin, I've noticed, which makes them very hateable. We can never really understand them. We must also remember that Foss has the ability to speak with the Admirabilis because of the whole shell transition thing. It's kind of like... It's a weird thing. So Foss can speak to things that other people can't speak to. Maybe Foss is putting that to the test in the here and now, trying to have that kind of conversation. So it seemed like you said wait, and then the gold is maybe acting on its own, because then you take him out and you almost try to take them hostage and build like a ball, isolate one and go hey, what the fuck's going on? Okay, fair enough, this will be interesting. Choking them out in the gold darkness. Can you understand what I'm saying? Seems like we're just choking them out. They don't really have much to... Oh no, something. That's a word. It's a funny panel, actually. It's funny but also disturbing. You're literally choking somebody right now. But they're like a ghost fucking ice cream person, so I don't know if it really counts as well. I don't know. It's almost like they're gaining a little bit more... when isolated like this, they gain a little bit more of a form, which is interesting too. You can almost touch this drawing a little bit more than the kind of abstract nature of this stuff here, I guess, which is a lot more ethereal. So obviously we must remember the kind of... the chapter title here, Fresh. I'm keeping that kind of, what's the word, grudge fresh by learning about them and keeping that kind of same energy, I guess. And Foss has every reason. Like, obviously, Antark would be the major motivation there. Killing Antark, taking away Antark. The threat of the Tsukijin also tying into the Shinsha Cinnabar thing, so... I don't know. Obviously, you got a reason to hate. Just because this chapter's called Angst, and if you've got him by the fucking neck, you're going to keep squeezing. Seems like we're continuing straight off. Ah? And then eyes widen, and then we hear a zoom, if we're doing the kind of onomatopoeia there, which seems that the... Yeah, okay. So then the Amethyst twins have come through and dispatched the Tsukijin. So then, obviously, you're fading out of existence. We're all fading. Yeah, that's poor timing. I was making progress there, allegedly. Maybe still making progress? It's almost like we've divorced this one person from, like, the structure. That's interesting. Huh. Have we almost brought them to our plane? In the same way that they steal kind of us and take them presumably to the moon, have we stolen this Tsukijin now? Is that where we're going? No! No! That's not where we're going. Okay. Oh, shit. And again, they don't know. We're not going to blame Amethyst. Like, they're just doing their job. It's interesting in this moment of death, but we're still getting another little grunt or something. They do think. They can speak. We can almost understand them. There's something to that. That is progress. That is evidence. That is lots of stuff there, I think. I'm interested to see how Foss reacts here. Yeah, can't really reveal anything. That's interesting. I guess I haven't really considered it. I wonder how legible the stuff down here is for you guys. Anyway, I'm reading it aloud. You guys can follow along. It's fine. Follow along with your own copy, of course. You can kind of see whichever page number I'm up to here. Very cool. Yeah, again, this was very easy to get. Just pirate stuff. It's very easy. Anyway. Twin crystal power, says Amethyst, as the construct that they kind of are. It's a great power. Seriously, ugh. I could zoom. Oh, look at that. Crazy shit. Could do that in the future. We'll see what the feedback is, of course. You must be tired to let them overpower you like that. You've been working too hard. We'll go report to Sensei, so you just stay here and rest. Thanks. So hey, did either of you hear anything when you sliced up the Lunarian? No, nothing. Huh. I guess I'm just tired. I don't think you're guessing anything. I think you know. I think you know what's going on there. And I guess this down here is Foss repeating what the kind of Tsukijin said. I did learn something new. Veiled in darkness in the Library of Secrets in the framing. It sounded like breathing. Could it really be words? Was I the only one who could hear it? Color appeared in the Lunarian's eyes. Was that a reaction to what I said? But now I didn't notice that. I guess the eyes came into focus a little bit more in the art, but color coming in is probably something that color could do with an adaptation, which would be nice. But anyway, that's something interesting, because they're all very beige, they're very cream colored generally, so seeing a bit of color there certainly is a discovery. I don't know anything for sure. For some reason, I thought if I could just meet with one, that would solve everything. But I've got a long road ahead of me, and it's exhausting sneaking around all the time. Oh, and it seems as Foss was thinking to himself, we have Ghost showing up. Now, from my notes over there, that's Ghost Quartz, everybody, but we're going to find that out. Just call him Ghost. Ghost is a cool name. And yeah, much like a ghost, hiding in the shadows, hiding in the library, sneaking up when we least suspect it. For the record, really like their character design too. Kind of the hair of the eye is a nice touch, and the eyes are very kind of almost feminine in the kind of structure there. A lot of mascara. Yeah, again, should we talk about the androgyny of the art? Or is that should we backseat that a little bit? I feel like they've done a very good job of drawing a halfway in between boy and girl type character. I think they've kind of nailed that. So yes, Ghost, very startling. Since all but Lapis Lazuli's head went to the moon, it's my job to manage the library in my partner's presence. Or absence. Can I read? Oh my god. Did you forget that? Yes. So you've been hanging out in the library ever since Lapis Lazuli went where they went. Gotcha. Looking for something? I was wondering how the Lunarians communicate with each other. I thought there might be some records. Lex took everything Lex took off with everything we have about Lunarians, figures, but when I was airing out some textbooks, I did find an old war diary. Would you like to see it? Okay, this could be interesting. The one piece of lore for the Lunarians that Alex doesn't possess. I wonder if you have to return that kind of stuff to the library. How does that work? Because libraries are like public, but is it really public if there's like a dozen of you? Like, what's what gives there? I do like Foss kind of casually using his powers here and there too. I think that's kind of nice. Just kind of the golds become very natural. It seems like we're looking out the window and observing Zircon and Bort, as we saw before. Leave me alone, we kind of hear them saying. Oh, a little bit of practice. Love to see it. Wonder what this fight's about. Is it a real fight or is it a training fight? Is leave me alone from Bortz in that regard? That's kind of interesting. That's a turn. Because it seems like Zircon's the aggressor here, if I was to pick one. Oh, Zircon doesn't have a sword. Zircon has a brush and comb. Okay, that's great. I love that. Now is not the time for this. Yes, it is. This is important. Diamonds are lithophilic, which attract oil and grease, apparently. Or lipophilic, I guess I would say. Your hair gets dirty quite easily, so I recommend a proper brushing regimen. Yellow, do something about this. Ref, do something. This is a good bit of comedy to kind of cut up stuff, because, like, it's been pretty serious here for a good 40 pages or so, I would say. They sprinkle in the levity, otherwise, I guess the whole kind of mystery and all that side of it could get a little bit monotonous. It's nice to see this character come through. And it's befitting of Zircon, who kind of gives preppy, gives a little bit spoilt, gives condescending. Like, I would be the one to want to doll Bortz up. That's kind of fun. It's fun seeing the shoe on the other foot as well. Bort's normally the powerful one, and kind of meek and reserved in this regard, not wanting to clean themselves, resisting showering. I guess we can all relate to that one, being anime fans. Oh, and it seems like Yellow and Daya have gone through the same thing. They're all dolled up already. That's great. A bemused smile from Foss over here. I wish you would always fight this aggressively, Zircon. I will. Not now. Go, you could do it. But that smile kind of fading upon seeing Adamant. I feel like this is the first time we've seen Adamant during this recording as well. Is what I'm seeing now the real Sensei? Or, I wonder who's speaking down here. You never can tell, can you? Is this Ghost? Yeah. Okay, so Ghost is kind of suspicious. Gotcha. Fair enough. Reading facial expression, this seems somewhat genuine, if a little bit pained from Adamant. That's something. We seem to just be going with Sensei a lot here in this translation, so I don't know where the Adamant part comes from. If I go over here and look at my little glossary again, Congo Sensei is kind of what we're going with here. Okay, no. So Ghost isn't suspicious. I mean, I never expected to see you here, Foss. This is off of You Can Never Tell, Can You? So I didn't expect this from you, Foss, to be here at the library. When you were working on your kind of encyclopedia, remember you still got the drawing pad thing? That's obviously a hanging thread as well. I believe there's a more solid setup for that later. I believe I talked about that in the last episode of the TV anime as well. Because Cinnabar has the drawing pad, and it's quite strong. It kind of held grip at a certain point. But it seems like something's happening. That's true. Sensei! And then we have two people running over. Black spots, 3 at once. Okay, 3 in 3 separate locations, not 3 on top of each other. Okay, fair enough. So we have 1 in the northeast, we have 1 due east, and 1 south by southeast. Thank you, I'll handle this, says Adamant. Lure the ones in the northeast and southeast closer to the one in the east. I'll expel them all together. Daya, Yellow, Benito, Kera. Go northeast. Bortz and Zircon, south-southeast. Neptune, you ring the bell. Adamant sensing Foss's presence. Get some rest. No, says Foss. I'm going with you. Interesting. Come on then. Okay, I think Adamant senses your suspicion. Tread carefully and find the truth for myself. Yeah, okay, we're gonna spy on Sensei a little bit, fair enough. And I might have 2 more chapters in me, but we'll see how I go. I kind of want something to happen. That'd be nice. But again, we're here for the long haul. We're seeing the whole story. So again, much later, this chapter's called Distance, and it seems like we're following Sensei Very cool. Broadly suspicious. Following him around. Sensei doesn't look sleepy, but it seems like Ghost's thing is sneaking. Okay, so again, Foss is a little bit disturbed that this person keeps coming up behind them and saying shit. Fair enough. Not again? You're overreacting. How long have you? Huh. I'm going with you. Ever since the library. Okay, so how long have you been here? You've basically been there the entire time, but not seen. Like a ghost, of course. Oh, I see. I feel like Lapis is coming back today. So clearly you have a thing. Everyone's got a thing. They've got a partner, you know? They've got a person that they're doing this all for. Obviously reflecting Foss and Shinsha. Or Cineba, whatever you want to say there. It's rare to see 3 at once. Will this be a first for you two? Or this will be a first for you two, won't it? Yes, Sensei. So this has happened previously, but obviously we're too young to remember. Okay, fair enough. The Lunarians have been a passion of yours lately, Foss. Have you learned what happens with 3 at once? Yes, they demonstrate unique behavior. Once we evaporate the first vessel, the other 2 will retreat as fast as shooting stars. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Yes, and we've lost 3 of our number when they went in pursuit. It's a nefarious trap, so don't follow them, otherwise you will be taken. Interesting, because Foss wants to be taken on some level, wants to learn more. Cursed with knowledge, cursed with the pursuit of knowledge. Again, tying that all the way back to the encyclopedia stuff is interesting. Oh baby, a triple. Is this your first triple? Yes, I've only learnt about them in class. Same? What? So Bullets doesn't know either, okay. You know how it works, right? Yes, if they run, don't give chase. So this is like a learning, this has been taught in class ad nauseum. Exactly, but this time, 1 or more of them may be a new type. By having Sensei dispel them all at once, we can include shard retrieval as part of our strategy. We're going to get all 3 of them into Sensei's range, provoke the vessel to lure it to the others without hurting it. Okay, this spells disaster, but fair enough, we're going to give it a go. Fucking Bortz is so cool. Yeah, look at him go. Hell yeah. And continuing the conflict here, just kind of drawing them in, a rain of arrows of sorts. Zircon almost getting hit here with a stray arrow, being saved by Bortz in the nick of time. That's nice. Thank you, Bortz. Oh, the hair thing coming back too. Hair doesn't need to be silky smooth. Understood. What is this, a fucking shampoo ad? What is going on? I guess we could kind of see a little bit of slickness over the hair here, which is kind of gross, but keep that shit oily because it works for combat. But yeah, Zircon didn't even know how close it was, a little bit shell-shocked. Is this really your first time fighting a triple threat? Ah, yes. Again, Bortz is just good at this old combat thing, of course. Very, very cool. Apparently Northeast is running late. What are those 3 doing? Now, who's struggling here? Which character is this? Because we've got Yellow and Daya working together in the background. But who are you? Let's get up my little encyclopedia. Or what I could also do, of course, is go back and read who's with who. Hang on. This is Benito, apparently. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And it feels like they're the target here. Now, what color is Benito? A radiant blue, apparently. Apparently they are cursed with bad luck and a hardness of 6.5, according to my little cheat sheet over there. Fair enough. Is it me, or have I been the only target here, when there are diamonds right over there? I wonder why that is. They seem to prioritize sharp colors. They like Foss. They like they've taken ruby and sapphire in the past. Like high, what's the word? Like overly saturated colors. They don't like the dullness as much. But yellow diamond's never been taken. But maybe yellow diamond, again, that's survivor's guilt thing. Maybe that's not by choice. Maybe we're just not charming enough, says Daya. What do you think, Elder Yellow? Benito is pretty cute. No wonder Sensei never pairs up these cloud-headed aces. There's no one to ground them. Hurry, Nepti. So Neptune, you would imagine. Oh, Board's made a lot of progress. If we don't hurry, we're in for an earful. Tread carefully, but be bold and... Locking back in. Hey, it's kind of cool. Hey, yeah, bet. Okay. Oh, hang on. Did you reflect... Oh, shit, this is bad. Okay, so you've reflected the arrow, and it's gone straight through the Sukijin, unexpectedly, and killed them, right? Which is, that's not the plan. Now the other 2 are going to fucking rush away, going to rug pull, and I think Foss is going to chase. Cursed with bad luck indeed. Ah! Now Bortz is going to be doubly mad, because that's not the plan. Oh! Over in the northeast, it's evaporated. Does that mean our plan failed? Yeah, Bortz is fucking hella mad. Oh, shit! Oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay, so now we see the Tsukujin almost like a flower closing up over the thing, retreating, as is kind of the education, as is what we've observed in the past. Yeah, but it's not dashing off. It's just stopped. But I thought they were supposed to dash off at breakneck speed. Should we get it? Wait. Something's off. I definitely wouldn't attack it right now if I were you guys. Here we can see that both of the remaining two have kind of balled up and have this little star on top of them, right? We failed, but the other two aren't running away. They've rolled up into little balls. What is that above them? Sensei? This reminds me of when Shiro showed up, and there was almost like this break in reality that we've kind of broken through. So I'll be keen to see if a similar thing happens here again. Foss, should I attack? They've never done this before. Leave it alone. What? But it's right there, not moving. If it's a new type, someone might be inside. And you would let it get away? But we don't know yet. But again, Foss also wants to be taken on some level too. Interesting. Oh shit, Adamant's fucking hella mad. Look at this. Intimidation. Yeah. There's some really choice full-page panels in this manga for sure. He's put in He's sick of Foss's defiance. He's reading between the lines here. He's like, nah, I'm sick of this bullshit. I'm sick of you going off on your own. I can almost see what you're trying to do. Oh yeah, no, look at this. Because then he's almost like grabbing for his sword, that being Foss, in the aftermath, before being distracted by something. I wonder what would have happened if this conversation kind of went a little bit further. Oh shit, okay. So Sensei, it's a bunch of mush inside. I don't think anyone's here. Ghost, get away from there! Is Ghost about to be taken? Ghost is about to be taken, everybody, by the fucking hands of doom. So it seems like it was some kind of bait, but Ghost is very evasive and sneaky, so I wouldn't expect that kind of character to be taken so very easily. But we'll see. Probably end up giving it one more chapter. With, again, now that we've got our sea legs a little bit more with the manga itself, reading a little bit more next week. But yeah, this is almost like this tan reality concept we saw with Shiro, kind of pulling it apart like that, and something coming through potentially, a number of things coming through, a little bit more physical and less ethereal. It's hard to say. Oh, no, this looks pretty bad. Next chapter, reversal, and seems like Ghost is getting pulled immediately. Pulled through this gap in reality. Go! Says Foss, and yeah, looks like we're leaving. On to the next stage. Okay, look at this. So Foss goes to shoot at the gold to try to save Ghost. Does it get stopped by Adamant? I think it does. What way else would it be falling to the ground here? It's almost like it has been like chopped or something. Oh no, Foss stops it himself. Gotcha. I want to see what Sensei's going to do here. Is an interesting line. Almost willing to risk Ghost in that as well. And for the record, it seems like Sensei is going to swoosh in and do something. Hold on, new revelations? New revelations. So he wants to move, but he stops himself and has like this guilty face over here. Okay. Grabbing himself. He's made a gem too? Thoughts? I didn't know that. But obviously this is a visual representation for somebody in two minds about something. He wants to go and save Ghost, but has to pull himself back. So there is some part of him that, yes, I love all my fucking gem children, but another part that says, no, I can't risk this here at this time either. Maybe a mismatch in priorities between the Tsukujin and the gems? Which one ultimately does he like better? It's interesting, we're going to see. But yeah, that's kind of gone into a whoosh, a big old zhish over here. And kind of that shockwave is pushing everybody back. He's like fucking controlling some gems or some shit now. He's like going to whish them at somebody. Foss is seeing all of this, by the way. So he shot them like bullets, 5 at a time into the sky. What is the scythe? Hello? Am I stupid? Did Ghost have a scythe? Yes, Ghost has a scythe. Okay, so that's where the scythe has come from. Fair enough. That's kind of cool. It's like, I'm death itself, something like that. It's very edgy. Okay, now what's happening? So the gemstones went through the sunspot and went whoosh and like cut it, and now it's turning into fucking oil and disintegrating. And Ghost is coming back through, but all shattered. But we can repair Ghost. And then Sensei here. I see. It merely shifted its main body to the hole overhead. I wish I could read. Before we retrieve Ghost, I'll dispel the one in the southeast. I think it's just within my reach. Interesting. Okay. So you eventually did make the decision to act. It looked like you were holding yourself back here, but was that just a play to break yourself to a point where you could get a few fucking stones to throw at them? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. And yeah, Sensei does the same thing here with a swish. He's kind of cool. He's like fucking flicking shit all over the place. Nice. Sensei, those things you've been throwing, are they... you saw that? How could they not? They are pieces of me. I usually get by with smaller pieces, smaller slivers, but I was a bit flustered. I'm sorry. So all this time, whenever he's been doing any of his bullshit, he's been throwing pieces of himself. Gotcha. Usually, you mean you always break pieces of yourself off to throw at them? I didn't know that, I think, but I don't think I could have forgotten something that terrible. No, I suspect not. I don't want anyone trying it. It's too dangerous, and so it's our secret. Almost hidden that Antark type shit, you know? Well, obviously that isn't a good tactic. Like, Foss can't do that. Foss's kind of constitution is very weak. It wouldn't work very well. I think this talks to Adamant's incredible hardness as well. Pause. But we don't know what his level is. It also kind of disproves my he is a human theory, because he's been throwing pieces of himself. I thought he was just doing like fucking force magic or something. No, he is a gem guy. Kind of. Are either of you damaged? No. We must retrieve Ghost. But Foss is just shell-shocked by the whole thing. We're also checking if there's pieces of somebody other than Ghost in the set. There's no pieces other than the ones that would have been Ghost. But it's nice that Ghost is still here. I thought that they were a very interesting character. I'm happy they didn't die immediately. They can't die, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, okay, this is what we're implying. Not that it wasn't any pieces of any other character, but any pieces of Sensei. No, Sensei likely sorts them out when picking up Ghost's pieces. Does that happen every time? In case we find a little piece and it gets us suspicious about how his moves actually work. He's kind of low-key very bad at telling secrets. Did you see anyone else get hurt? No, I was imagining things. You know me lately. I'm all nerves, having trippy hallucinations and all that. Changing the subject, have you ever had to treat Sensei? Very smooth, Foss. Very, very smooth. Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Sensei damaged? I've never heard of such a thing. But I'm interested. Super interested. Don't be creepy. Kinda everyone has a thing for Sensei in a weird way, so... I don't know. Antark most of all. Which, again, that's kind of the framing of the Antark thing as well, which is, okay, Antark's doing this. I don't want you to pursue this Sensei thing because I like Sensei, and I don't want you to disgrace the image of Sensei as well. And again, in Antark's memory, I have Antark's role. Would it be disrespectful to him if I was to pursue this thing as much as I am? But I don't think Foss really has a choice in the matter. Sensei, you would break off pieces of your own body to fight the Lunarians. On the other hand, our dear mentor and the Lunarians aren't exactly strangers. The more I try to see for myself, the more questions I come up with. And again, pairing that with the Shiro stuff and the strangling of the other Tsukijin. And it seems like we're pairing this kind of thinking of Foss with the repair of Ghost. All done. Thank you. Nice work, Rutiel. I was talking to you, Foss. I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You reached out to help me. I saw you. It might have been Sensei who really saved the day, but I was happy to see you try. But I didn't. I held myself back on the slight chance I was going to see what Sensei did. So again, I was risking you, Ghost, actually. I wonder if Ghost knows that. Interesting. Like, I was gambling Ghost and Ghost getting taken with Sensei and discovering what Sensei would have done in said situation. Rutiel, may I go see Sensei? Yes, I'll go with you. The two of them go off, leaving Foss on his own. Again, it's not what you think. I wanted to see what Sensei would do, so I chose not to help you. Sensei wasn't the one who neglected our friends and almost let the Lunarians get away. I was. No, I didn't mean to. I would never. That's right. Really, it was just a coincidence. This is interesting. Like, almost this guilt coming through now. I love this. Okay, this is a development. I didn't know that you didn't really consider that as much till now, but now you're actually thinking about it. Oh shit, am I the baddie? Maybe that's the idea of the chapter title, Reversal. I thought that Adamant was the sus one, but maybe I'm the sus one and looking for the sus one. I was looking for the sussy imposter, and I was the imposter the whole time. Oh my god. So just curious, I want to go back to the very start. So what am I, 144 now? I think we're going to leave it. If I had one more chapter, I would have done one more chapter, but I have 2 to finish the volume. Okay. It's a bit of a poxy spot to stop. Oh, I should really finish the volume. Do I have time? I kind of have time. I don't know. Potentially, again, I think this will fit better later if I'm trying to do a session. How many pages? Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. I better stop now. I'm going to stop now. Also, spoilers, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that showed anything. Yeah, it's an interesting spot where we've left it, I guess. Am I the monster or am I the man, says Foss to himself. Yeah, I think that went well. I had a lot to say, obviously. And yeah, time permitting next week, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. I'd love to even maybe do a longer session there and just kind of knock over these 2 chapters and then the next volume. It's hard to find good stopping points. I'm guessing that the volumes will be decent stopping points. But again, people had to wait. I'd imagine this would be like a bi-weekly thing. Twice a month, maybe? I don't know when this thing kind of... Anyway, they're all naturally good stopping points is my thing because... they are stopping points. This is where you would have left the story for a good long while. But yeah, keen to read more. Expanding ideas, getting my sea legs with the manga thing, of course. And yeah, keen to read more. Patreon, if you wanted to next week's video now. I also didn't shout at the patrons again. I'm sorry. I keep doing that. I'll put it somewhere early in the video. Yeah, Discord, if you want to discuss anything with me, obviously spoiler free. And yeah, let me know. Again, I'm new to this whole manga thing, so let me know if I'm doing any faux pas or anything. I'm just going to try to upload this as it is. If I get copyrighted, I'll just kind of hide it and then keep the page number there if you guys want to sync up your stuff with that. But it was fine with Goodbye Eri, so I'd imagine this would be fine too. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next week. Patreon, Discord, like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. And we're back. We're back with Land of the Lustrous, which we're very, very happy about. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.